Mario Party 10 is one of the best franchises and spin-offs of the Mario series. It is personally one of my favorite series.
Mine as well.
Hi, I am Noah Tandy, and this is my friend Doug.
Hi, I will most likely be in a lot of these videos.
I am going to be making videos like these. They won't always be with the same people, but there will be group gaming and top 10 videos featuring either Doug or any of my other friends. We will be talking together about just how different the new game of this series, even though it's a year old, Mario Party 10. I don't hate the game,
Neither do I.
but the game is different from all of its predecessors.
Almost completely.
Number 1. It's on the Wii U. You aren't using those 4 standard controllers you're using on the GameCube and the N64.
I mean, you have those controllers, but you don't have to use all of them.
Yeah, you have the classic controller, you have the nunchucks, although that's still motion controls. You have the motion controls combined with the Wii U Playpad.
Yeah, and unfortunately sometimes that can be a bug too.
Yeah. And what I feel about motion controls is that it's old. It's been around since 2006.
But you also gotta remember, and I'm not dissing motion controls either because this is so true. Same with touchpads, and you got your iPhone nowadays where you try to use the finger detector, so it reads your fingerprint, and sometimes it doesn't work. Well, just like that, this has some bugs as well.
A lot of people like classic gaming, and that has the original controllers, the ones where you just use 2 hands. You don't have you don't have with nunchucks.
And we're not saying the motion control is a bad thing either.
Yeah, it's just after a while it gets old. But there are some good aspects to the fact that there's motion controls. It used to be on the Wii, like Mario Party 8 and Mario Party 9. Those entered a new realm of the game because of the motion controls.
Oh yeah. Number 2.
Now we're on the game modes.
Oh boy.
Normal mode, standard 4 players, just like the norm, and
Yeah.
there's no gamepad.
Yeah, well, that's the only... Well, no, there's actually another mode, but we'll talk about that later.
There is on the gamepad, you can see Toad and Bowser is stuck in a cage type thing, and when he's released, he does go off to where he can affect the gameplay.
Yeah, and that can be troublesome later on.
Yeah. Bowser Party Mode. It can have 5 players because you have the 4 main players, and then you have
Bowser himself, which is, by the way, that's the gamepad. Oh, and just speaking from experience, you need to put some force into your swing when you're, rolling your dice as Bowser. And I kind of like that. I'm not going to diss that. Because to be honest, Bowser uses his force and his strength just to throw those. But he does get 6 dice.
because he can go far. He can go like 30 spaces, I think.
Well, it's kind of unfair when you have 4 people in one car and they just move forward the whole time.
Yeah, we don't have anywhere to go, and Bowser can just rampage through the map.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah. Because as experience for Doug.
Yeah, as experience for me, the only thing is you gotta press your trigger buttons, which are the ZL and the ZR key buttons, and they're on the back of the gamepad as well.
Yeah.
And you have to press those and hold them as you fling the gamepad just to roll your dice. Although it's a lot of fun to do because your controller shakes as soon as the dice hit the ground, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. When you find a group of treasure chests, the touchpad for Bowser.
Oh yeah, the touchpad for Bowser. So this is what's really new, and I really like how they did this. You're set with at least 5 chests. 3 of them are good chests, 2 are bad. Now what Bowser's job is to disguise the chest, either mark them over, make them not visible, or to put like a check mark next to them, or a symbol for Bowser himself on there as a stamp, so that they choose the bad ones, and they end up getting penalized for it.
Although the first time Doug did do that, he just scribbled on the screen, because you're really supposed to touch so that you know what exactly you're blocking off or what you're changing.
And unfortunately, I didn't quite know how to do that at first. And then afterwards, when it came to the second time I had to do that, I kind of just ended up using a bunch of reverse psychology, and for some reason it worked out well.
Yeah, both times I've used it, I've never got something good. I've always gotten the skeleton fish. I don't know what it's called, I just know whenever you get it, you lose stars.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
As well as there's also a part where you come to a place where there's smoke that you end up at a crossroads where you can go into two paths, and smoke billows over them the whole time. So as you're approaching these roads, you have no idea what's there. Now, but when you get there, as Bowser, you end up seeing on the gamepad, and you can do the same thing, mark, put stamps, doesn't matter, to lead them in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was a lot of fun. Single time.
It definitely control people.
Oh yeah, you'll mess with people's heads because they're like, I don't know whether to trust the man or not.
Oh, trust me, I raged the last time. When he blocks me off, it got pretty upsetting because, you know, when you want to go a certain direction, or the one direction.
And we're not talking about the band.
Yeah. It's very frustrating, man.
Oh yeah, it can get frustrating for you guys. For me, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of laughs. Oh yeah, I might as well mention this. So at the beginning, or throughout the whole thing, when they come across question marks as well as some of the boxes and they open them, sometimes they'll open it and there'll be a penalty for Bowser himself. So in my case, at the beginning, I think it was off of the second turn, they ended up landing on one of the question marks, and it gave them this thing where it took away one of my die. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up with 5. Now, here's how this worked against them. Right afterwards, when it became my turn, Bowser Jr. comes up and he gives me 2 more instead of... So now I have an extra one that I didn't have to begin with.
Yeah.
And I also have the option to re-roll. So anytime I can roll, and if I feel like it was really low, I know I could have done better, you have the option to re-roll as Bowser.
Yeah, and that's unfair, because once Bowser catches up to the car, it's not right, because you go into a play mode and then you basically get mauled.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, fun times.
Yeah. Number 3. Every mode you are stuck in a car with your other party members.
Oh my goodness, I felt bad. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm just speaking about this from when we were playing Bowser mode, because I never got to play party mode with you yet, but I do know how that consistency and how it works. Mm-hmm. I do know that in almost every mode you're stuck in there. There's one mode where you're not, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Mm-hmm. But as for what's going on, you're stuck in that car with the other 3 people, and it's just like, how can you get competitive at all?
When you're stuck with the same people, you're not going independently. You're stuck. You're stuck. The only times you get out is when you go to those treasure chests we were talking about earlier. And even then, you stay there for like a minute and you get back in the car together.
Yep.
One thing about that is that you're going straight the whole time. And since you're not independent, you guys go the same directions. One good thing I have to say about that is the fact that you can lose stars. Like, not for personally, but for the other people. They lose stars if they land on a certain space. And I mean, that's cool, but it's still kind of, just hard to bear whenever you guys are going the same exact direction.
It's more of a game of who can get what, and how quickly can you get there, and is it your turn? And I'm going to be honest, I like when games introduce something that's new, and I like that.
Definitely.
It could be new and improved, or it could just be new in general. It may not even be improved. But the fact that they brought something new, in general, they're trying to come up with another idea. They're trying to come up with something different, so that we don't get, bored or...
Yeah, they're not repeating the same exact thing over and over again.
And I'm just going to bring this up because we're on the subject. I feel like a lot of games nowadays, especially for...
Call of Duty?
No, fam. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta say this, but we're not gonna rant on about that because you know what? In all honesty, I don't hate Call of Duty. It's still a good franchise.
It is a good franchise. It's repetitive, just like a lot of games are repetitive. Like Super Mario Bros. U. That was an add-on to the new Super Mario Bros. Wii from the DS, going back Super Mario World, except that's a new type of game, and then the original Super Mario Bros. Franchises repeat. It's completely fine, but it's good to have new things like the car. It's kind of a 50-50 opinion there. You know, right, Doug?
Yeah, in some ways you take it as a good thing, like if you're playing as Bowser. In some ways you take it as a bad thing, like if you're playing as the other party members. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe just a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I can understand. It's more of like a 50-50 thing. It depends on where you're looking from. As well as... I can understand where things get kind of like they lose, like the consistency is there, but it's just like it just becomes the same thing over and over again. And I feel like that's what they're trying to move away from as well.
Mm-hmm.
And something you don't ever want in a game is where it's always the same thing over and over again. Or you like it, just talking in general. I'm not saying Call of Duty or anything like this. I'm just talking in general because a lot of games do this, and a lot of them are FPS games where you'll have online multiplayer. Okay, I understand. It's the same thing. It's always going to be online with other people. You can't really change that. However, the problem occurs when you go into the campaign, and the campaign is pretty much the same thing, the same people. All you really did was change, like, I changed his name as well as his hairstyle.
Yeah.
I slightly toned the lighting a little bit lower. But
sensitivity.
Yeah, sensitivity. That
exactly.
Okay, hold up. Oh, we have new weapons. Wait, hold up. The dice are different colors.
Yeah.
Before I say anything else, I really quickly just want to touch on this point. And we're again, if this sounds like a rant, we're not trying to rant. We're just saying, like, in general, we're just stating the pros and cons. And honestly, I like where this is going. And we're saying, when we're talking about we're ranting, it sounds like we're ranting on about staying the same. In all honesty, we're just saying that this game isn't like a lot of games where they lose a lot of people because it's just
it's
boring.
It's much different, and the layout can be boring, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately. But this, however, we're talking about in this situation, we're talking about how they're trying to change it and make something new, different, kind of spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And
which Nintendo does and doesn't a lot of times.
Yeah. And I'm not going to peg them on this one because, you know what, they're trying. I saw that. You know, it's obvious that they were trying. They added a new game mode into it, and that includes the gamepad itself, as well as another one we'll talk about in a second here. But, I mean, you can obviously tell that they were really trying to go the distance. And that's why I'm saying that this isn't just like, we're not trying to diss this game. We're saying that in a lot of ways this is kind of a good thing that it's not exactly the same. I like how some things are the same.
Definitely.
But, you know, sometimes you just gotta change some things.
Yes.
Number 4.
Amiibo Party Mode. We all know what Amiibo is. Those figurines you get that work on the gamepad.
Oh yeah, the ones that I always pass by in a store.
But I am not saying it's a bad thing because I have over 50 Amiibo.
Yeah, that's true.
And you have seen it in my past game room tour. I don't know how many of you watched it, but if you can, go check it out. But not getting off topic, I'm just saying Amiibo is a popular thing. It was addicting. It still is, but not as popular. I still like them. I like how they look in my room, you know?
Yeah.
This is the only mode that is like its predecessors because you're independent, not in a car.
Yeah, so now you don't have to worry about getting stuck with somebody else's fate in that car.
Uh-huh.
Now it's like, I messed up. Oh, wait, no. Nobody else gets affected. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. And because your characters are independent on the board, you don't rely on each other.
Mm-hmm. As well as the fact of you also don't have to wait on a, like, it's not the fact that you don't have to wait. You don't have to, like, you don't pass something and go, oh my goodness, I missed that because somebody else played that or rolled the dice and they passed it.
Since you aren't going, like, there's no end point, like, you know, the Game of Life and this Mario Party. You, it's like a board. It's like a real game board, like Monopoly. And when you get around the circle, it goes by turns and not getting to the end.
This is where we were talking about some things stayed the same, and this is where I like it. The only thing I still have a little bit of a problem with is that you have to use the Amiibo characters for it, which means you have to go buy Amiibo characters. That's a little bit of a problem.
For me personally, that's not a big deal because I have the most of the series of Amiibo. So,
yeah, but if you're just starting off, yeah.
him, he doesn't have many. I don't even think he has an Amiibo, right?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about
And
that.
see, if you had Mario Party 10 to use Amiibo and you don't have Amiibo, it's useless.
Yeah.
But this game mode is more original in a way because they incorporated Amiibo, but it also uses the old gimmicks.
Yeah, and I like how they were trying to go back to the same old thing, but they were trying to still have it be a little bit different. They didn't try to change everything on that game mode. So, in all honesty, they did pretty well on trying to stay on track.
Yeah. So, the conclusion here, what we do and do not like, I would give this game 3 stars because of those cons that we had with like being stuck in a car, being with other players, not independently. You're dependent on what happens in the luck. And also the Wii gimmicks, like the Wii gimmick. Once we get the Switch, which is coming out soon, it'll be better if they make another Mario Party. That's what I don't like about the game, but in all honesty, it is a fun game to play with friends because there's rage, there's the fact that you're just playing a party game with your friends, you know? Because most party games are fun to play.
See, for me, my pros and cons about this, I really, and honestly, I rate this about a 3.5. But that, I only add the 0.5 because of the fact that I was playing as Bowser and was the one making people rage. So, yeah. Perspective view. Anyways, so, my cons for this were, yes, there were a lot of, sometimes there were some glitches with the motion controls, but that's to be expected. I can't always bump that. But also when it came to at first, it doesn't exactly explain to you what you're doing when it comes to disguising the boxes. So earlier when we were talking about the treasure chest, it never explained to you in like a tutorial or anything. And I had the tutorials on too because it was my first time playing it on the Bowser mode, and I didn't really understand the controls at first. So it asked me if I wanted still to use the tutorial. I chose yes. It led me on how to roll the dice. And all the basics, but unfortunately it did not go over the fact of how to, what you were doing when you were going through the disguising process, like whether, like what you're supposed to do. I only found out because I looked back at my gamepad and it said it said on the screen, waiting on Bowser, and I looked back at my gamepad and realized I'm looking at all the chests, so I was like, what in the world is going on? So I touched the gamepad and I realized I started drawing on it, and I was like, oh, okay. But I just scribbled on it the first time because I was already too late. So, yeah. Other than that, for pros, I'm not going to lie. I like how now you can play as Bowser. And I don't just say that because it was rage-inducing for you. And I'm not saying that because I made you rage. I'm saying that because of this mode, you can now play with not only 4 people, but you can play with 5 people on the Wii. Which include, so now
There
you
you
can
go.
include an extra person.
Because throughout gaming history, I mean, we've went from the NES with 2 players to the SNES with 2 players too, and then we got to the N64 and Sega Dreamcast, and you got to the PlayStation. That's 4 players. That was a new era, and I don't know if there's any other games that incorporate more than just 4 players. But here's an example: 5 players. That's a cool gimmick there. I think so,
Yeah, I honestly did too, because when I was looking at that, I was like, wait, you can play with 5 people? I thought you could only play with 4.
Sorry, my cat is trying to get in the way.
Dang it.
And she knows we're up to something, so, keep discussion.
Yeah, another thing with that, though, is that I know a lot of people are going to say after we said, oh, yeah, and this one you can play with 5 people, somebody's going to talk about the DS, and I'm just going to say this before we move on here. Before you go saying, well, the DS can do that too, we're talking about console. We're not talking about, portable, handheld, oh, I'm going to play a DS with my friends by, Bluetooth connecting. Or just connecting them in general by a wire. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about being able to play on the Wii itself with your friends and having fun.
Yeah.
And this is honestly what this whole thing has been about. I mean, this whole franchise is about being with your friends and family and being able to have fun.
Definitely. And this is the reason that this game is not a bad game, but it isn't the best. As we said, 3.5 stars. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, as well as if you want to see more videos with friends, like Doug here. I had so much fun making this video. I want you guys to tell me what you guys thought, and if I want to make these videos again. This is Noah Tandy.
This is Douglas.
And we will see you later.